What's up, people? Welcome back to the What's on Your Mind podcast. I may title this episode Transparency Part 2 because I don't know how to title this episode. But for my last episode, I mentioned that hearing certain things, even when they're positive, is really hard. Gonna start this off with a story, and with the story and other things I'll mention, I'll try and keep things as discreet as possible because I don't ever want to use my platform to like throw shade at anyone, or even if I'm talking about someone who has caused me a lot of traumatic experiences, I'll try to keep their identity hidden, and only people close to me will understand what I'm talking about. But tell a quick story. The other day, I saw a message I received at 8 in the morning, and it was from someone who I had previously dated, and they had told me, like, hey, you probably don't remember me, but I just wanted to check on you and tell you that you're always so nice to me, even from us not ending on the best foot. I still wanted to tell you that. And this is the first time this has happened in my life. And each time it happens, it always leaves me in an awkward spot because the people who have came back in my life and told me that, hey, I apologize for how I treated you. You're a really good person. On one hand, it makes me appreciate it, and it makes me look at myself like, wow, I really am a good person. As much as I don't feel that way, or as much as I tell myself the opposite due to my trauma, I'm really a good person. But it almost brings a feeling of it's too late to hear that because of the trauma that person has already given me. It's already set place in my heart to where I go about my everyday life telling myself that I'm not a good person, or you shouldn't have did this. And again, not to keep things confidential, I won't express who did these things, but there were people in my life who criticized me for exiting toxic situations for the better of myself. They told me that, oh, you don't know how to deal with things, or oh, you're not ready to be in a relationship, or oh, you overreacted. You should have gave those people another chance. And it had me feel for the longest time that I was wrong for doing the things that I've done. And to hear it reversed, and after years, to hear that, oh, you were a good person, and you were always nice to me, and I regret the things that I did to you, it almost falls on deaf ears, and it almost feels like foreign language, because there have also been people in my very close family that have told me that you aren't a good this, or I hate being around you, or you didn't do enough, or you're always... It's hard to talk about things, one, with keeping them confidential, because I don't want to use my platform to throw shade to anyone, even if it is things that have happened, especially if it's been from family, but also just from reliving those traumatic experiences. But from being told, and then being told I wasn't enough, that was more from relationship aspect than family aspect. But to be told that you aren't a good person, pretty much, even when you're trying your hardest, it really brings a sense of a never-ending cycle of thinking that you won't ever be truly enough. And it's led me in my life to hold myself to a certain standard and feel as though I'll never reach it. And when I originally started my podcast, that came from years of talking like, hey, I want to start a podcast. Hey, I want to do this. Hey, I want to do this. But I never got to it because I felt that, one, I didn't really know how. And luckily, I have a friend, her name's Shakira, who told me how to start one. But I didn't really know how. And then I didn't really feel I was going to be good enough to do so. And then once I did it, people told me that, hey, you're really good at this. and you should keep going. Hearing that changed how I looked at myself and how I went about certain things. Because there are things I really love doing, like podcasting, to where I always feel like I'm never going to be good enough. And then people were to tell me, hey, you're doing amazing, you are good enough. It sets my mind in a loop because I'm trying to feel good about myself, but I'm also healing from being told by very close people in my life that I wasn't good enough or I wasn't a good this or that. And anytime I'm praised now in my life, one, my brain tries to tell me that's a lie. Like, oh, those people aren't telling you the truth, or you could be better. But even when it's a compliment, it reminds me of the pain I felt, because when people who hurt you the most try and come back and tell you that you really are good at this, or they do appreciate you, or they do love you, it makes it seem like it's not the truth, or it seems like it could change at any moment. And people who know me more personally know who specifically the people I'm referring to, but it's really hard to accept good things by myself because I'm so used to hearing bad things, and I'm so used to telling myself bad things from the standard I hold myself to. There was a moment in my life where I wanted to be a teacher. It was pretty young. It was like during high school, 10th grade, from seeing amazing teachers in my life, like my former English teacher, Miss Gibson, or former science teacher, Mr. Richardson, or a very young teacher of mine at elementary school named Miss Hampton. Like, seeing these amazing teachers, I wanted to be a teacher. I really love teaching people, and I also really love helping people. I love having an impact on people's lives. But the teachers who I grew up with told me not to be a teacher. Some of them did, because they said it's not worth it. They don't get paid enough, and the experience isn't the best. So I gave up that dream. And then I realized how much I love writing, and then I didn't know specifically what to go into with writing, so I just ended up going in journalism. And if you refer back to my last episode, I don't really like the major, but I've been told it gets better, so hope for the best. But I was doing a presentation in a class, and usually how this class works, the structure of the class, each week students will lead a presentation. And each week, nobody in the class would be interested. Me being guilty of this as well. The class in general isn't the most exciting. I'm trying not to use the word boring, but it isn't the most exciting, and we have to present based on books we have read in the previous weeks and give our thoughts about it or make a presentation about it. And a lot of times people haven't read the books, or people don't like the books, or it's really early. It's a 10:20 class, so people are still waking up. They're still drinking their coffee from Starbucks, and nobody's really interested. When it was my turn to present with my group, the reception was the complete opposite. When I had my speaking moments, because I was with a group, so I wasn't doing all the speaking. But when I was doing my speaking moments, everyone in the class paid attention to me. And there were people who went out of their way to say, hey, you'll be a really good teacher. Like, they said this out loud in front of everyone. And the class, it's not a lecture hall, but it's like at least 30 to 40 people in it, or 20 to 40 people in it. And already, as good as I am with public speaking and with speaking in general, I do have really bad anxiety. So, and plus with telling myself, like, you're not good, you're not going to do a good job. When fighting through all that, it's really hard. But I've always been told I'm really good at speaking. And to hear people my age tell me that I would be good at teaching, and they were the most interested in my presentation, it truly made... When it happened, I said it made my month, but it's really made my semester. That was one of the best moments I've ever experienced in my life. To hear that when I was presenting something, I would be a really good teacher. And then they told me again once I sat down. Like, once my group was done with the presentation, I sat down and people were telling me, like, hey, you'll be a really good teacher and you should go into teaching. And then when I was telling them, like, I would, but I'm a journalism major. And then they were telling me, like, well, just teach journalism. It's like, wow, these people really see something in me, and they were strangers. They were just classmates. They weren't my friends. They weren't really associates. I only see them in class, but they made it apparent to tell me I would be really good at teaching. And then the professor from this class, because it's about popular literature, it's about books and everything. The professor, obviously, he reads a lot of books. And he's really interested in this class. Every book we talk about, he's really interested. He goes in very great detail, and he's read a lot. And another part of this class, you have to write papers about the books we've read, like multiple books. Like we read like three, or we're supposed to read like 3 or 4 books, and then he would give us like a theme to write about and go on from there. And I wrote a paper for his class, and I got a pretty good grade on it. And the professor told me this in feedback on D2L, it's the website for our assignments, and in person, that you are a really good writer. And he told me that you should do this. Don't ever stop writing. You have a talent for this. And to hear that, it already means a lot to hear that from my peers. But if it's a friend, then they're most likely, or at least this is what my mind telling me, they're your friends. They're going to tell you that anyway. And I've been told this is a writer thing to not really accept that I'm a good writer, but to hear that from a professor who reads for a living and been reading all his life, he's read many, many great books from writers. He's seen it all, he's read it all, and to hear that I have a talent from someone who knows what talent is, it makes me believe that, wow, I may actually have something here. And I've been told by a lot of people in my life a lot of things, and sadly it doesn't click as much because of the things that I've been through. There have been people I've met in my life who've told me that you are a really, really good person. And people who I've met recently in my life, they told me that almost from the moment they met me. And I asked them, like, what makes me such a good person? From the moment you see me, you're telling me I'm a good person. Like, I don't see myself in that light. And I tried, the person I am, I base my whole moral high ground on treating people the way that I never wanted to be treated in my life. I never want people to experience the feelings that I felt from other people. The trauma I felt, I never want, at least for me, I never want them to feel that way. So I tell people, hey, you're amazing. I'm very big on compliments. I'm very big on helping people through their hardships, because I never really had anyone to do that for me. And to get it back, to get people saying like, hey, you are a good person. Hey, you're really good at this. It's like, am I? It just has me question, am I? Because I never really felt any positive things from people, from a lot of people. I grew up being bullied. I've lost people in my life. People have left my life from things that I did where I wasn't trying to be negative. I was trying to be the best person I am, and I still messed up and lost people. And it's created a lot of things within me that make it really hard to really just go about my everyday life. And to go about life hearing that, hey, you really are a good person, you really are a good friend, it's like a double-edged sword, because it reminds me of the times where people very close to me have told me the opposite, but it also shows that, wow, I really must be a good person. And I'm most likely going to name this Transparency 2, just for it so it makes the most sense. But again, I really appreciate the people in my life who keep me at a level head and keep me really from myself, because as much as I've been bullied, as much as I've heard things from certain people in my life that have made me hate myself, no one can make me feel worse than how I make myself feel, if I'm just being honest. And it's really hard to overcome those things because of the things I've been through. But the people in my life, when I tell you that I appreciate you, I wish there was a bigger word for appreciation, because I wouldn't be here without y'all. So I really appreciate y'all listening to a 2-part transparency thing. The next few episodes are going to be like actual topics. So again, if you didn't really like these episodes or you didn't really want to listen to this, I understand. I'll probably get feedback eventually from these episodes, whether it be good or bad. But I really appreciate you guys, and listen to the next one. Thank you.